Neptune Theatre is located on sacred land that has been the site of human activity since time immemorial. We are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kma'ki people, and we acknowledge them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land. Welcome. I was very honored to be asked to try and pull together a celebration of life for our Jenny Munday. Unlike many of you, I knew Jenny for many, many, many years, but I didn't become a really close friend until 2018, when I was teaching a semester at Mount Allison. And I was teaching Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it was the dead of winter. And so I would be driving back and forth from Halifax. And I got in touch with Jenny about whether or not it would be okay to stay at her place if the weather got bad, only if the weather got bad. I don't want to impose. I don't want to, push my luck. And she said, no, that's fine. That's great. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Sure. So it was a really bad impersonation. Deb's better at it. So it started out with me driving in on Tuesday. I would stay over Wednesday night, teach on Thursday, and drive back. Well, over the course of that term, it became, well, maybe I should drive in on Monday, just in case the weather's bad on Tuesday. And then Thursday would come and it would be, well, the roads aren't looking good. Maybe I should stay till Friday. And that's when we became very good friends. So during that time, we spent many nights having marathon talks and enjoying a few drinks and laughing hard enough to pee ourselves. And during that time, these are a few things of what I learned from Jenny. Avocados are delicious in salads. Jenny was a full-on Trekkie. Totally surprised me, but yep. And a single plastic coffee filter that you put on your mug, and then you put another little filter in and you drip through into the mug, that makes the best cup of coffee, and I don't drink it any other way. She had such a wealth of knowledge about so many topics, and there was never a lack of stuff to discuss or fight about, but always with mutual respect. Arse pick is the very best thing to call someone when you need to. And no one enjoyed using a good string of F-bombs as much as she did. And most important, she taught me to listen. Jenny always listened hard, taking in every word, considering what I was saying before commenting or giving her opinion. I believe this is what made her such a great, brilliant dramaturg and a very, very good friend. Next we have Deb Allen. Oh, before I... This is gonna... Yeah, slow burn. This is gonna happen a lot. Just a housekeeping thing. We are required to keep our masks on at all times unless you are taking a drink and then you have to pull it down, take a drink, put it back on, please. And when the speakers are coming up, you're fine to take it off as I've just shown. Okay, Deb Allen.
Nothing worse than following a voice teacher, right? Welcome, everybody. And Sherry was too modest to tell you who she was, but Sherry Smith, for people who are watching us on live stream, and those of you in the room who don't know who Sherry is, a most accomplished actress and playwright, teacher, all sorts of things. I just wanted to say hello and welcome to all of those of you who are watching us now. We wish you could be in the room with us, and I know Jenny is she's got her own special channel she's watching on. And I'm very grateful, and I wanted to welcome the family who are here. Jenny's niece, Kristen Chasson, and her two children, Maybelle and Aaron, and Kristen's brother, Andrew. Welcome, folks. Glad you made it. These people are troopers. They got here yesterday, got off the plane. How they landed in that fog, I don't know. But that didn't deter them. They got immediately in another vehicle, went to Lunenburg, Peggy's Cove, came home. They're here today. They leave tomorrow. Woohoo! That sounds like Jenny jeans to me a little bit. But I also would like to extend greetings to Jenny's sister, Leslie. And Leslie's out in Santa Monica and would have loved to have been here, I know, but COVID has a way of interfering with our lives these days. And also a special hello to Bob up in Toronto, and to all of the friends and colleagues who are watching now. So moving along with our program, because there are way more interesting people than me to hear from, I just wanted to mention that when I went to PEI back in the late 70s to work at CBC, people kept saying to me when I got there, "Have you met Don Hanna?" And I felt like a real loser, because I seemed to be the only person who'd never met Don Hanna. And I thought, and then he was gone. He'd left the island, and I thought, I'm never going to meet Don Hanna. But, of course, through guess who? Jenny, the connector, I'd meet Don Hanna, and have been lucky to have a wonderful friendship with him and Doug Guilford for a number of years, and shared lots of good times with Jenny. But I want to welcome Don to the stage. Don, many of you know, is an accomplished award-winning author, fabulous playwright, terrific dramaturge, if you've had the opportunity to sit in on any of his sessions with him at the Colony or other places. And we thought it interesting to have Don come and speak first, because we're kind of bookending Jenny's life and career here today by beginning talking to one of her older friends, first of all, and then we're going to hear from some of her younger colleagues later in the program. So may I introduce Don Hanna?
Thank you, Deb. Welcome all. Thank you for coming. I like to say that Jenny Munday and I met and became friends during a business call, which is almost the truth. One day in the late 90s, around supper time in Toronto, my phone rang. It was Jenny calling from Dort's Cove. She'd recently been hired by Park and wanted to talk about something, the home delivery program probably, what we used to call dramaturgy through the mail. And we talked about Park for a while, then gossiped a bit. Who did we know in common? Who did we like? Then one of us said, "I'm pouring myself a glass of wine." And the other one said, "Oh, I'll join you." And before too long, we were gabbing like old friends and having so much fun that somehow, how this happened, it was getting on for midnight. We'd been chain smoking and drinking for hours. "I've run out of wine," one of us said. "Me too," said the other, and so we figured we better call it a night. After that, because of Jenny, I became more involved with Park. Our friendship revolved around the organization, and I kept realizing how adept she was at just about everything, at budgets, at grant applications, at mentoring young artists, at dramaturgy, play readings. I watched her tackle every aspect of that organization. For a while, I even had an official title. I was Park's associate artist. When I was asked, "What exactly do you do at Park?" I'd say, "I'm the person that Jenny Munday phones when she needs to rant about something." Once her tenure at Park was in full swing, I would say that this happened pretty well once a week. More when she was up to her neck in grants. The phone would ring. "Hi, it's Jenny. You have a minute?" And 2 minutes later, and I'll give you an expurgated version here, fucking Canada Council, that fucking New Brunswick Arts Council, that fucking board, that fucking so-and-so thinks she's so smart we should all bow down in front of her. Like that. She had a particularly short fuse for people who she felt weren't professional. "Never work with amateurs," she said, "because they always know more than you do." She'd phone, she'd rant, and inevitably 5 minutes later we'd be talking through a practical solution to what was bugging her, and then we'd be laughing like fools. I can't remember a time when Jenny and I did not laugh. For years, when we saw each other in the flesh, it was at a park colony. And I don't know how to describe what those first ones with her were like. We'd be in a student residence somewhere, or a motel, or the rundown Dunroven cottages in Victoria, PEI. And Jenny would have arrived in a car that was falling apart and crammed with bedding and towels and pots, baking dishes, plates, cutlery, kitchen staples, printers, coffee makers, dictionaries, legal pads, pencils, God only knows what else, a writer's colony, and a trunk. The time at the Dunroven was particularly memorable. It rained a lot, as I recall. Jenny and I had both just quit smoking, so we were out of our minds. To give the festivities a bit of weight, Pierre Trudeau died. One very wet night after dinner and too many drinks, we went on a rant about how significant Don Messer's Jubilee had been in shaping our lives as maritime artists. And we started giving poor Robert Chafe a hard time because he had never heard of the Book to Dancers. "They're who we are," I bellowed at him while Jenny cackled and howled. And poor Trout was laughing too hard to walk. He crawled out of the cabin into the pouring rain because, he said, he had to get away from us. We were nothing if not professional. Jenny was not just a fabulous actor. She was a great workshop actor. On stage, the actor has to make things work, even if the script doesn't, but not in a workshop. A great workshop actor gives the playwright what's on the page, lifts it just enough to give it life, but not enough to interfere too much. Jenny had that wonderful, dark voice. When she chuckled, she could sound like one of Marge Simpson's sisters. And one of the great privileges of my life has been to be with her in so many readings, to listen to that voice in so many plays, playing young girls, middle-aged women, smartasses, sages, stupid broads, funny ones, tragic old ladies, pioneers, another old bag and a bonnet, she'd say. Women in the future, in outer space, and men, old men, young men, boys. She was amazing. And of course, one of the greatest times in my professional life was to watch her in 3 productions of Cave Painter. That play was so important to us both, me, because I'd written it as a way to deal with the loss of so many people dear to me, and Jenny, because she was dealing with what was one of the greatest losses of her life, her sister Allison. A loss that led her to write those fabulous scenes between the sisters in her play, The Bunk Beds. Because yes, on top of everything else, she could really write. She had a true playwright's ear. Her first response may often have been to blow a fuse, but she was as soft as warm butter and generous. When her ex-husband David ended up in Sackville and came back into her life, he needed support, and she was there for him until the end. She was a great, true, and loyal friend. The last time I was with her, I helped her run errands, dropping off boxes at the Sally Ann, stocking up on cat supplies, health food, watch batteries. It was a long list. "At least I'm not dragging her to Crookshanks," she said. She'd already been to the funeral home, had already paid for her cremation. She was about to start chemo and was talking about an assisted death if things became unbearable. "Are you scared?" I asked her. We'd had a smart lunch at Cousin's family restaurant. She thought for a minute and said, "The only thing I'm scared of is ending up in the hands of stupid people." While she was having her last bouts of chemo, we didn't talk on the phone as regularly. "Call whenever you're up to it," I said, and I kept in touch by sending her vintage postcards with vintage sick jokes on them, Helen Keller jokes. Jokes like, "How do you make a dead baby float?" Jokes like that. We did have one wonderful Zoom evening near the end of May. Jenny and me and Ellen Peterson and Ryan Griffith. We laughed a lot. Laughed so much that later she told me that was probably how she fractured her neck. "I'm sure it's when it happened," she said. And then she snorted and said, "You can tell people I died laughing." We began on the phone, and our time together ended with a phone call. I still don't have a cell phone, and on a Sunday morning there was a message on the landline. Jenny had sent a text from the hospital in the night, and so we heard it delivered by a robot. Have set up made. Probably will happen Thursday. On Wednesday night, I realized there was another message on the phone. Jenny had called to thank me for the last Helen Keller postcard and to say goodbye, and we'd missed the call. She said that maid would be happening the next day at 4:30. Call me back if you get this before 9. It was 9:45. I was heartbroken. The next morning I decided to phone her. If she wasn't up to it, I knew she wouldn't answer. She did. And of course, she started off with a rant about the nurse who hadn't woken her up in the night to give her painkillers. But the drugs started to kick in as we talked. And we talked for nearly an hour and a half. We talked about her decision to end her life that afternoon. She said she knew it was the right thing to do. I read her a message that Colleen Murphy had sent me for her the night before. Oh, said Jenny, thank her for me. That's very sweet. Because so few people knew that she would be dying that afternoon, she gave me a list of people to be in touch with. Say goodbye to Doug, she said, and call Leanne and Lori and Ellen. Will you tell Zave and Kenny and Michael Shimada and Ryan Griffith? And she said, when you talk to Ryan, tell him to stop writing all those fucking monologues. Mostly, that last morning, we laughed. Twice she was laughing so hard that a nurse came in to check on her. We thanked each other and talked about our friends, talked about our students, Karen, Greg, Zave. We bitched about things that had always driven us crazy. For one last time, we howled at a Toronto playwright's notion of New Brunswick geography. A character in her play had come from a small village up the St. John River above Fredericton called Herring Cove. Herring Cove, said Jenny, on the St. John River. Ha! We were working our way towards saying goodbye. Did I tell you that one of my doctors is in amateur theater? She said. No, I said, you didn't. She chuckled. It's true, she said. He is. And then, I have to deal with these assholes until the moment I die. We were both gone by this point, and I started to say something. Stop, she said. She was laughing so hard she could hardly get the words out. Stop. This is killing me. And I can't die before 4:30. A fierce and fearless woman, deeply complicated, both insecure and totally sure of herself, capable of doing just about anything in the world of theater. She was as brave as can be and as kind as kindness itself. And oh, sweet Jesus, how I love her. Thank you.
That was the portrait, Dawn. You captured Jenny perfectly, I thought. Thank you so much. And Jenny and I have known each other for a long, long time, I guess since about 81 or something, and had many adventures, and they often involved us swapping houses. I'd happen to be working in Sackville or somewhere, and she needed to come here and do a show, and we'd trade houses, and then sometimes we'd work together and live together, and we found that we had great synchronicity, and, you know, we'd have evenings like Sherry and Jenny had, and sharing stories and whatnot. One of them involved a trip to Parsboro, and my friend Chuck Homewood said, oh, you can use my trailer. So off we went. We saw the show. I don't even remember what the show was, but we, of course, had to deconstruct it afterward, and we'd made sure we'd been to the liquor store. And we had supplies, and we had to get off the deck of the ship because there were too many mosquitoes. So we got back to the trailer. Jenny was going to sleep on the upper level, which is, there are 2 bunks, and you go up 4 steps, and there's no railing or anything. And I used to always complain I wasn't going to sleep up there because you have to get up in the night and you'll fall down, you know. So I would always sleep where the dining room table would be constructed, and you'd put a mattress on, it became a bed. But usually when you come back after a show, you've had a drink, who wants to set up a mattress on a table? So I just sleep on the bench. And it was a coolish night. It was late in the season, so we had long johns on and I had a wonderful duvet and things. So anyway, finally we've said the last words were said. For Christ's sake, we yelled back and forth a few times. Yeah, and then when she said that, I didn't believe that at all. Why did she write it like that? So anyway, finally Jenny wasn't talking, and then I wasn't talking. We dropped off, and we had a lovely sleep. We were sort of drugged in the arms of Morpheus, and off we went. And then, unbeknownst to me, suddenly I was on the floor. I didn't know what had happened, but I was protected enough because I was wrapped up in this duvet that Chuck had bought somewhere. I'd wrapped it up a few times around me, so I was cocooned. Down I went, and then I hear Jenny's laugh. You know that I'm mistaken. Oh, Jesus. Off her, I'm stuck. And there was a very narrow opening between the two bunks in the upper loft. She'd fallen there, couldn't move. It gets better because if you know that part of Parisboro, you have to go out and stand on a cliff or climb a tree and hold your phone up and wave it. You can't get any signal. So we're both lying there saying, they're not going to find us till spring. You know, they're never going to find us. Anyway, finally I got myself up. Jenny wedged herself out. But then we were awake, but we had to have another glass of wine. And those are kinds of the adventures Jenny and I would have. And she called me, I remember the night before the day of Maid. And I wasn't expecting because we'd already had a call, and we said we'll talk in the morning. But she called and said, hi, how are you? What are you doing? And I said, well, I'm making supper. How are you? What are you doing? She was quite groggy by then. She said, oh, I'm just lying around. Wait. So that was a poignant bit. But I keep thinking Jenny's just gone to the store. But I think after today, this is closure for me and for a lot of people. I think we start to believe now that she really isn't coming back to us in the physical sense, but she sure ain't going anywhere spiritually. Thanks, Jenny. What I'd like to do now is welcome to the stage somebody who, well, we wouldn't be sitting in this room probably if it weren't for Linda Moore. Everybody knows Linda, but Linda was one of the most popular ADs here at Neptune for many years, oversaw renovations in the main building, really worked to make this happen, and set up a second stage, which has been such a fabulous venue for a lot of works in progress, and open to wonderful events like we have here today. And it just seems appropriate that Linda should be part of our afternoon. And Linda, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Okay, hi. I just wanted to mention that you can see that there's tables behind us and Jenny's her pass-along items. So please take time afterwards to take a look and take home a little memento. Okay. All right. Now, yeah. So Jenny was often, for a long time, a good friend, but like others, when I went to Sacraville, boy, she was a lifesaver, and we got to know each other quite well there, and I was just so thrilled to have that I've had that time with her. And then when she decided to move to Halifax, she came and stayed at our house for a few months while she looked for that wonderful townhouse that she found, which was just a few blocks down on North Street. So it was good to have that time with Jenny, and I really value it. I just wanted to let's see now, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about what a wonderful actor Jenny was. And I found this incredible review of Daniel McIver's Communion. Because when Catherine McClelland began the Kazan Company, the first show that she wanted to do was Communion. And Jenny and Stephanie and Catherine were in it, and I directed it. And didn't immediately we get a call from the NAC inviting that show to go to Ottawa. And so there was a review in the Ottawa Citizen And I just wanted to read you a very little bit because his name was Andrew Snowden, thought Jenny was the most incredible actor. And what he said was, the role of Leda provides a rich opportunity for a female actor to take on a realistic role that requires considerable comic and dramatic skill. Monday's performance will, rightly, be the gold standard against which subsequent Ledas will be judged. McIver's text requires the actor to hold the audience's attention for a protracted, nerve-wracking period of time, through stage business, and then to run an emotional marathon from anxious despair to blissful serenity. It could look like hard work, or, as in Monday's case, it could look like the journey of a real human being. So, I thought that was pretty stunning. The other little thing I want to read to you is that when Dawn called us to let us know on the day that Jenny was leaving us, Sandy and I went and bought a little plant, and we brought it back to the cottage. We were at the cottage, and I wrote this. It's called the Jenny Wind. We take our drinks out to the back deck, and Sandy plants the lemon balm next to the thyme in the little garden. He calls it the Jenny Balm. And at exactly 4:30, we raise our glasses to the heavens to ease her passage. And then right after the toast, a sudden cold gust sends us scurrying inside. And just as we enter through the back door, the front door flies wide open. There she goes. Thank you. Oh, am I introducing somebody? I can't remember if I'm introducing anybody. Oh, yes, I'm introducing your scene. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's right. Okay, so yeah, come on up. Come on up, Catherine and Stephanie, doing a scene from Jenny's play, Relatively Harmless. Thank you. Sorry. That's okay. You lost my mind.
No, you didn't. Hi. Jenny actually won the Ottawa Critics Circle Award for her performance of Leda in Communion. Do you remember that? She won, yeah. She was nominated and she won. Yay. It was fabulous. Okay. So Jenny wrote this play. Dawn, do you know what year, maybe? Relatively Harmless, approximately? I don't know. Okay. Late 90s. Okay. All righty. Okay. So these, what are the relationships? I thought Linda was going to say that.
That's all good. Let's just go into it.
Okay. Zoe, are you awake? Everybody is looking for you. Oh, why do you always do this? Zoe, Nightshade, you answer me. How long are you going to stay in there?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
What difference does it make?
Are you sleeping?
Yeah.
You can't stay in there forever.
Why not?
Because you can't.
Why not? Why not? It seems to be kind of a family tradition. You had a cousin who did it. Just went to bed one day and never got up. He's always been a kind of a hero to me. A role model.
He was your father's cousin.
He was one of the Nightshades?
Yes.
I always thought he was your cousin. One of the Pollards.
Well, he wasn't.
Well, that makes sense then. I guess, sort of. My name's Nightshade. I'm part of the Nightshade family. I grow while I'm sleeping.
If you were a tomato, maybe. Besides, that only works at night, when the moon is out.
But it's dark in here. It's just like night. My brain thinks it's night. It's night. The longest night. The endless night. The night of the soul. A time to grow. Growth is learning. I'm learning. Try to think of it like that. I'm growing, learning, and developing myself. Expanding. Expanding my horizons. Expanding my soul. I'm taking a course. I'm I'm going to school, night school.
For God's sake, when did you become so weird?
Well,
Catherine McClellan and Stephanie McDonald, thank you very much, as seen from Relatively Harmless. And just, I do want to acknowledge that Gay Hauser was in the original cast, and she's here in the audience, a friend of Jenny's. Hi, Gay. We had a couple of people we'd love to be here in person with us, Kim McCaw and Ellen Peterson, but sadly they live far, far away, and our budget didn't run to their airfare. Sorry, folks. But I just wanted to acknowledge them and thank them. Kim is going to speak first. You heard Don refer to Kim earlier, and he directed the production of Cave Painter that Jenny did here in the studio. And Kim is also an accomplished playwright and dramaturg himself, and Ellen Peterson is somebody I've met and worked with a number of times, as I have with Kim at the Playwrights Colony, organized by Park. And Ellen is an actor as well as a playwright and dramaturg. So Kim will speak first, and then you'll hear Ellen.
I first met Jenny in 1983 when I directed at the Blythe Festival for the first time. I'd been called in very late, so the show was already designed and almost completely cast. Jenny was one of these actors. I'm pretty sure it was her first equity show. The play turned out to be a tricky one, and the playwright even trickier. And maybe because of this, the cast all came together and worked hard and had a great time. I loved working with Jenny. She was incredibly funny, made big, bold choices, was kind and generous and with all the other actors, and just a great positive force in the rehearsal hall. Somehow the show came off all right, and I'd made a great new friend. Over the next nearly 40 years, Jenny and I kept finding ways to work together. She went back down east and became a big, hugely productive force in creating and producing new work, and I tried to do similar stuff out west. At one point, I was head of the Banff Playwrights Colony and managed to get Jenny out to be one of our acting company for a summer. Again, her great spirit, her talent, her insight, and wicked sense of humor made her absolutely invaluable. One of the highlights of that colony was a mock TV talk show created by Nova Scotia writer Ed MacDonald. He called it the Jenny Munday Show. And I just remember one of the things where he talked about, tonight on the Jenny Munday Show, Jenny's guest, Rita McNeil, alive or dead, you be the judge. Years later, Jenny started the Park Playwrights Colony and says that she modeled a lot on the Banff version. And then she gave me the great opportunity of coming out as a guest dramaturg for a few years, and that was a great gift. We did all kinds of good work, worked with a lot of wonderful artists. And every year, Jenny's commitment was just remarkable, unwavering. Her passion for the work was total, and every colony was filled with a ton of laughter. So that's how I intend to remember my friend Jenny. For her talent, her passion, her courage, and her savage sense of humor. I'm so happy to have known her.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny's friend Ellen from Winnipeg, and I wish I could be there with all of you tonight, but I'm pleased to be able to participate this way at least. Here we go. Dear Jenny, you know what this is? This is a second draft. The first draft is okay, I guess. There's nothing really wrong with it, but, well, where's a good dramaturg when you need one? I miss you so much, Jenny. I'm wondering if you knew how well loved you are. I kind of think maybe you did. That's good. It'd be a shame if you didn't know. People should always go to their own funerals. I think we have it backwards. Because this gathering is doing all of us some good, no doubt. But think how much more fun it would be to give you a chance for rebuttal. Go out for a drink afterwards. What would you say to all this? Don't be such assholes. I don't think I ever told you how flattered I am that you thought of me as a friend. That somebody so smart seemed to enjoy my company. You believed in me too, I think. I'm lucky. And I'm lucky that you invited me to Sackville all those times so that I could meet all the wonderful people I've met through you. You were the hub of the wheel, you know. A really beautiful wheel. And thanks for that. Thanks for being so funny and so true. One thing I really liked a lot was how you never tried to make me look on the bright side if I wasn't ready or if I wasn't in the mood. Some things are just hard. The play I'm writing right now has a role in it that would be perfect for you, because I wrote it for you, and I was hoping we'd at least get a chance for one lousy Zoom reading. But that's life, I guess, eh? I was going to come out and see you this winter. I have all this stuff I want to tell you. Like we finally got rid of our lousy premiere. People had parties. Look at all these people, Jenny. We're all thinking about you at the same time, which makes you present in a way. And that's something at least. We love you, and we miss you, and we know that you loved us. We'll stumble along somehow. Sorry if I'm being an asshole about it, but some things are just hard. All my love, Ellen. Cheers, everybody.
Next, I'd like to introduce one of Canada's most well-known and accomplished playwrights, a close friend of Jenny's and colleague, but most importantly, he was my mob partner in Jesus Christ Superstar, Stephenville Festival, 1984. Daniel McIver.
Hi, weren't we lepers? So whoever dies first, the other one gets to tell the leper story at the memorial. Okay, yay. Something to look forward to. Hey, no, wait, you don't know. Yeah, so I just, so I knew Jenny by reputation for years before I met her by working with her, and she was a very well-known play of mine is Mary and Bridge, and she was there are three sisters. The eldest is Agnes, who is the center of the play, and Jenny was the prototypical Agnes, and I like to write for people even if the play's been written, and so you see, I know I keep writing, and so what I think Jenny brought to Agnes is the phrase, we talked about this yesterday, a world-weary warmth. That's Jenny is part of that character forever. And so I just wanted to read you something that I wrote for Jenny. The last time we worked together was here in a play called Small Things, and Jenny, I wrote it. I also directed it, which was wonderful to get to work with Jenny that closely. Anyway, this monologue wasn't part of the original. I had done it before in some workshops, but it was Jenny that inspired it. Even though she was a bit like another fucking monologue, but but she did it. I don't know. She didn't. She felt that way, but she certainly did it well. Her character was Patricia. It's as if there was one moment on one day, where I felt for the first time mortality's cool shadow, when I realized that No matter the books I tried to believe in or how I spent my Sunday mornings or Saturday nights or sunups or dusks, that there will be an end and it will be real and final, and this collection of cells and muscles and bones and memories will be no more. And it is as if there was a life before that moment and a life after. I can't tell you what the moment was. Perhaps it was the morning I found my husband in the service kitchen, his head on the table beside the silver bowl from the set his mother left us, the pink skim of the remnants of the last of the strawberry ice cream coating the bowl, the spoon still in his hand, his body so cold I could feel it from across the room. Or maybe it was the first time I felt the disconnect between my heartbeat and my breath, the first awareness of the failing of the body. Or it may have been that line I read in a book on a plane 5 miles above the Indian Ocean about the difference between knowing we would die and believing we would. One of these moments, perhaps. But I can tell you, looking back, there was a time before and then this time now. And here in this time, I understand that the things that once seemed so important and enormous, war and religion and politics, are just games we play at, kinds of tricks to take our time, not the stuff of life. They're nothing at all compared to how everything beautiful comes from the dirt, or the space a breeze reminds us we're taking up, or the delicate gauze of thinking. The body goes, and with it the mind. They say that life is short, but they are wrong. Life is like a petal, like a tear, like 4 bars of an already tiny sonata. Life is not short, it is little, it is small. It's a favorite monologue of mine, and it really wouldn't have existed without Jenny. But I want to just finish by part of that, one of the central things in that play was at the end there's a little music box that gets given as a gift, and this is like your story, Linda, but it happened yesterday. It's like the doors flew open. I was downstairs in the basement digging through some old, I was looking for some things in boxes of papers, and I found this little music box, and it was given to me on the opening night from Jenny, and it's so Jenny, right? There's no card or anything. She just stuck a Post-it on it, and it's so, the language is so, she says, "Daniel, allow me to offer this as a gift to you from me. Thank you, Jenny." Anyway, I'm just going to play it because
Thank you, Daniel. It is with great privilege and delight that we have Jenny's niece here with us tonight, and her 2 kids, and she's going to come up and say a few words. So please welcome Kristen to the stage.
Hi there. When Deb first asked me to put together a few words, I was a little nervous because I know a lot of people in here do this as their profession, but I stand in front of 12 and 13-year-olds all day, so if you're texting when you're not supposed to be, I'll know because no one stares at their crotch for that long. It's not that interesting. So anyways, hi everyone. I'm Kristen, and I was Jenny Munday's niece. To begin, I wanted to take a minute to extend a huge thank you on behalf of my whole family to all of the fantastic people who worked tirelessly to put this wonderful celebration of Jenny's life together. I know I will probably miss recognizing some people, so I apologize ahead of time, but please know that all of your efforts are valued and appreciated. So Sherry and Deb and Scott and Karen and many, many others, thank you so much. Being able to remember Jenny in this way is very much a gift. Other family members who were able to be here today in person are Jenny's nephew Andrew, my little brother, her great niece Mabel Jane, and her great nephew Aaron. Others who wish they could have been here, and some of who are watching, and also send their thanks, are her sister Leslie and her partner Charlie in San Diego, her brother Bob and his partner Agnes from Toronto, her niece Jennifer and her husband Charles and great-nephew Harvey, and her nephew Joe, and then my husband John and my brother's wife Heidi and great-niece and nephew Astrid and Gilbert. So on behalf of all of them, I do want to say thank you. Jenny has always been an important part of our lives, and we have been there for each other for many milestones in each other's lives. One of my earliest memories is of attending Jenny's graduation from the university in New Brunswick. And one of the reasons why it stands out is I got to go with my mom, and who was Allison, and we got to wear matching dresses, and I thought that was just the best. Later, I would get to attend many of the plays that she performed during summers in Ontario, like Blythe and Morrisburg. I, of course, thought the role where she got to wear roller skates was amazing, and getting to go backstage was like getting to be famous for just a little bit. I asked my brother what one of his early memories of Jenny was last night, fittingly after a few cocktails at the Triangle Tavern. And so he said it was when she was living in Toronto, and we visited one night, and he got to see some entrepreneurial women standing on the sidewalk in front of her house, waiting for a business transaction to take place. He was glued to that window all night long. And then I was talking to Mabel this morning, and I said, you know, is there anything you wanted me to include? And she said, well, I just remember at great-grandma's house, which was Jenny's mom, Nora, and we were in the spare bedroom, and her and I were just laughing and laughing, and we'd fall back on the bed laughing. And I said, you know, she put that into her play, The Bunk Bed. So what the character Esme sort of was, that scene was recreated on the bunk beds, which are actually in my basement. So it's kind of, when you guys are sharing about the plays and all of those things, there's little family connections that it's really great that I get to make. There were many, sorry, I lost my spot there. Okay, see, this is where, okay. You know, there were numerous times where we got to keep connected. Visits to us visiting Guysborough, and her many visits to Ontario for weddings, and then her mom's, Nora's 90th birthday. And there were many holidays and celebrations and performances that we got to share, and many that we did spend apart, but we were always connected through lots of phone calls, as some of you shared, and cards and letters. When my mom Allison passed, Jenny stepped in for me as a role of confidant and person I could call and vent to. An hour on the phone with her would go by in like 5 minutes. So with me always hanging up feeling a lot better after talking to her. So to me, Jenny was a warrior who was fiercely loyal and loving and would always stand in my corner. And I was honored to get to be in her corner and support her at the end. Her friend Carla, who couldn't be here today, said something, emailed me and said unfortunately she wasn't going to be able to make it, but said something that rings very true to me. She says she often picks up the phone for their weekly conversations and or rants, and doubts that desire will ever fade anytime soon. In closing, I wanted to say thank you. You are all part of Jenny's family, her maritime family, her theater family, and it's been great to be able to celebrate her life with you.
Thank you, Kristen. Oh, it's getting hard, boys. Next, we have up, as Deb mentioned in the beginning, we're kind of bookending from oldest or older, not to call you out, Dawn, to younger colleague, protege, friend of Jenny's, our artistic director of Theatre New Brunswick, the lovely Natasha McClellan.
I'm starting. I've got new lenses and they're starter progressives, and it's so embarrassing, but that was scary. So I'm Natasha McClellan, and it is so nice to be in a room and be referred to as one of the young ones. Thank you. Yeah, taking it. So I'm going to talk about Jenny, I guess, from the point of view of one of her many proteges. And I think, unless someone wants to contradict me, I'm the first one. I was the first person, I think, that got hired at Park to help her, because when I met Jenny, she was my age, and she was really tired. I remember Nate, who I think is right over there. Did I see you, Nate? Yeah. Nate brought me into the park board, so I got to the park board, and my first meeting was her talking about how tired she was and how she needed help and a million things. And so I ended up getting hired to help her. So that was neat, because that actually led to when she won the Mallory Gilbert Award, the first one. On this stage, I was named her protege. So that felt really nice. And I only realized that coming in the car today with Ryan and Ilke. I was like, oh God, it's the stage where that happened. And I've been trying to think about what to say about Jenny, because there is no place for me to begin and there's no place for me to end with how much she impacted me. It's everywhere. And only since she's been gone have I realized how many times I say, Jenny did this, Jenny said this, remember Jenny? No, I have to do it this way because Jenny said. It's remarkable how often I say that. So what I've done is I've whittled it down to my top 5 Jenny moments that I think capture what she's taught me and how she's impacted me. The first one is sitting on the step of Ducky's in Sackville when I was in Dawn Hannah's play, There Is a Land of Pure Delight. And I was so delighted to be having drinks with my colleagues, because I didn't get cast a lot as an actor, and I was so delighted to have been cast in a play. And we were having drinks and we were yelling about theater, and I forgot that I had a dinner date with Jenny that night because I was the chair of the park board, and my cell phone kept ringing, and I looked down and I went, damn it, it's Jenny. And she tore a strip off of me like no one in my life has ever done. I have never felt so little. I have never felt so stupid. And the reason I bring it up, and I got in the car and I went over to dinner, because I think, Dawn, you were at dinner too? Or maybe we rescheduled for the next day. I don't know. It's all a blur. All I remember is the yelling. But you know, it's funny, like, I remember it. And I remember what the takeaway for me was how important it was to honor your responsibilities. And I was going to have a whole month of yelling in the bar with Jeremy and Martha and Matthew about the play. Sorry, Dawn. But I didn't have that many opportunities to sit with her. So number 2 top Jenny moment. She brought me to the very first Magnetic North Festival. I know a lot of us in here are theater people, but that was the big festival that was supposed to bring together theater people and touring plays. And she was going with Park, and she said to me, you have to be here, because it's really important to be at places where everybody's gathering. You have to go, you have to have a conversation, you have to meet people, because nothing tops being with other artists. And neither of us could afford to be there. We had no money. I think Park might have squeaked out a plane ticket for me, but we shared a hotel room. I slept on a cot, and we ate most of our meals in the room because we didn't have money. But it was great, because I did meet a million people, and I do understand the value of just get to where the good stuff's happening. Find a way in the room, and it'll take care of itself. Number 3. number 3 on the top 5 Jenny moments was just next door when I directed a play at Neptune called The Last Wife, and my dates were my mom, dad, and Jenny. And they had never met, Mom, Dad, and Jenny. And for many years, my mother had been sending bottles of pickles and beets and relish to Jenny because Jenny loved them, but she didn't make them. And my aunts and my mother made them all the time. So every time I left, I took a jar for Jenny and I gave it to her. So I saw Jenny thank Mom, and then there was a whole bunch of laughing. And as we were walking into theater, Jenny goes to me, "Your father's a flirt." I was like, oh my God. Yeah, he's a Gemini. It works. He is. Yeah, great. That night, she gave me this card and this pin. It was really nice. Top 4, number 4 in the top 5, was directing her. She was in the Christmas play TMB did a few years ago. It's a Wonderful Life. It was the first time she and I had been in a rehearsal room together after, I think, 20 years of mentorship and talks and, park things. This was the first time we were in a rehearsal room. And the pleasure of watching her work was irreplaceable. I'll just never get that back. It was a gift, that rehearsal period. And on tour, it was amazing because she was so incredibly happy. She was so happy in that rehearsal process. She was so happy to be on tour again. And I got to spend a night with her in a hotel room in Miramichi. And when I got back to the room, I had been out having a drink with a board member who lived in Miramichi, and I got back to the room, and she was, in bed. And then she goes, "How was your night?" And I told her, and she's like, "Okay, so okay." And I said, "Well, I'll just go to bed." She goes, "No, it's all right." She asked me a question, and I answered it, and then she asked me another question, I answered it, and then I asked her a question, and we kept talking. And then she goes, "Well, I've got a bottle of wine." And so she got up, and we had the wine. And then we finished that bottle of wine, and then we took the one they were selling in the fridge, and we were up until 4 in the morning. It was great. Number 5. So when Jenny was ill last year-ish, we started talking more. COVID, we were both alone. And so I was talking to her more. And one day on the phone, she was like, "I've got no books to read. I have nothing to do." We were sharing a Crave account. So we each were watching Crave. We'd run out of things to talk about. So she goes, "There's nothing to watch and I have no books." So I went, "Okay." So I called, what's it called here? What's the bookstore? I'm thinking Westminster, but that's Fredericton. Bookmark? The Bookmark. I called the Bookmark and I said, "Do you have a copy of Mexican Gothic?" They said, "Yes, I do." I said, "If I pay for it over the phone with a credit card and get someone to pick it up, is that okay?" "Oh, but first I asked, do you deliver?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do. We deliver by bikes, but not today." I was like, "Gotta be today." So I called Andrea Ritchie and I said, "Are you at work?" She goes, "Yes." I said, "Will you stop at the Bookmark, pick up a book, and drop it off at Jenny's for me today?" She goes, "Yeah." So done. Called, got it all done. Andrew texted me when the book was delivered, and then I called Jenny, and I said, "Oh, how's it going now?" "Nah, it's still no good." I said, "Open your door." She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just open your front door." And so she went out, and she opened the door, and there was a book there, and she went, "How'd you do that?" And then it was awesome. So anyway, she read it, she liked it. But I think everybody else probably noticed that she was really trying to return favors. In the last couple of months, if you'd ever done something nice for her, she did something back for you. She paid for another year of Crave because I paid for the first year. She mailed me the book back because she didn't want to keep it, I guess. She didn't want it to end up on this table. And so she sent me the book back. But, and this picks up with what Daniel and Linda, what you were saying. After she died, I kid you not, my friend Lisa called me because I told her that Jenny had passed. She knew I was really sad. And so she called me and she goes, "Open your front door." And so I went to my front door. I was like, "What?" And I opened it and there was a bottle of champagne. And I went, "How'd you do that?" And then I couldn't believe it because it dropped in. I was like, "You couldn't even let that go? You already turned the book to me. You didn't have to return that favor." So that was a beautiful magic moment for me. But all that leads me to, because she was in the end wrapping up loose ends, she called me one day at work and she said, "Natasha, The Last Tasmanian is not listed on the plays that TMB has done. You have to put it up there right now." I said, "Yes, of course I will." So I didn't know why it wasn't there. So Matt and I put The Last Tasmanian on the website, and it's up there with The Americans Are Coming. And that is a segue into the fact that we are now going to read from The Americans Are Coming, Rob McLean and Deb Allen. Yeah? That's all I've got. Thank you.
And we did this in 1997, and this is the premiere in Fredericton, and then we toured New Brunswick. What's the name of the place you come from, Mr. Nutbeam?
Smyrna Mills. That's in Maine. West of here, south or something, I think. I don't think it's north, anyhow. Northwest, maybe. Ain't sure.
Well, that's in the States, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. I think it's northwest of here or somewhere. Not that far, really. But,
Are you American?
I guess so.
We're all Canadians around here.
Yeah?
Yeah, except for the sports on the river. You a sport?
Just a man.
Have you traveled a lot?
No, left Maine and come here. That's all the traveling I ever did.
I was to Rogersville once.
Oh, and here. I brought you this, too.
A turkey?
For your Christmas dinner. You gotta have turkey for Christmas dinner.
Well, thank you. I guess you'd better have dinner with us tomorrow.
You a Catholic?
Yeah, only Catholic around here.
I'm a Catholic. Ain't been to church in years, though.
Oh, me neither. John Diefenbaker's a Baptist, ain't he?
Probably.
Baptists don't play cards. Shad does, but Shad Nash, he ain't nothing. Devil's gonna get him.
Devil's already got him.
Devil wouldn't stand much of a chance around Nash's. Not with Elva around.
She put the fear of God in him. That's for sure.
You are the funniest looking man I've ever seen. You look just like the sun, with big floppy ears.
I like your smile.
Mr. Nutbeam, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, fine lady. Thank you.
You'll come for supper.
I'd love to, ma'am.
Call me Shirley.
I like that. Surely.
I mismasked, and it's over there, but I wanted to, we thought it was important to put Jenny's work at Park in context because it was such a big part of her life, and she spent many, many years there. And just to give us a sense of her role there and how it works, we've asked Pamela Halstead, who is currently the executive director of Park, to speak on that. And Pam is well known as an actress and director herself. She used to be the artistic director of Ship's Company. She ran Lunchbox in Calgary, and she's done numerous things. Pam, would you come to the stage and share some of your memories with us?
Thanks, Deb. It still comes as a surprise to me to be introduced as the artistic director of Park. I have to admit, I always have a little moment where it feels like, I'm not the artistic director, Jenny Munday's the artistic director of Park. To the point that I actually was chuckling on my way down here today about when COVID hit and we had to start being paid online. Bruce Klinger, he transferred me my pay, and I called him and said, Bruce, like, I've tried a couple of times and I can't get it to accept it. Like, what's the password? You know, is it Jenny? Is it Monday? Is it Jenny Monday? And he said, there's a silence on the phone, and he said, you are the artistic director of Park. Pam, because the question had something to do with the name of the artistic director. I read last artistic director Park, and it was the last name of the artistic director. Anyway, Jenny Munday was not the password for my pay. As many of you know, Playwrights Atlantic Resource Center, or Park, is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. It's impossible to think of Park without thinking about Jenny. Park was founded in 1991 by Wanda Graham, and Jenny was involved from the very beginning. In the photo from the first movable feast in Parsboro, there is Jenny in the front row. In 1997, Park received funding from the Canada Council, which was used to secure a part-time administrator. Jenny was hired, and the rest, as they say, is history. Jenny speaks about the early days of Park in her recent 30th anniversary video interview recorded this spring. Thank you to Catherine Banks for making that happen. And if you've not seen it, it is well worth the watch. It's available on Park's website and Facebook page. Jenny worked incredibly hard over her 20 years of her tenure at Park to build and grow the organization. Under her leadership, operating support was secured in 3 of the 4 Atlantic provinces. She worked with playwright centers across the country to form PDDC, or Playwrights Development Centers of Canada. She secured support from the town of Sackville, the Craig Foundation, the JEA Craig Foundation, and Access Copyright Foundation. When she became the Craig Fellow at Mount Allison University in 2006, she was able to use that position to benefit Park as well. She found the office and the Park Colony a permanent home at Mount A and created the Park Script Library of Atlantic Canadian Plays to be housed there. Jenny's contribution to the organization and to playwriting in Canada cannot be understated. She's been written up in publications like Judith Rubikov's Between the Lines, The Process of Dramaturgy. She's contributed articles to Canadian Theatre Review, including one called Park and Me in Middle Age, which I think I'm definitely going to go find. She was awarded the inaugural Mallory Gilbert Award, as Natasha mentioned, by the Professional Association of Canadian Theatres for her leadership of Park, as well as the Special Achievement Merit Award for her contribution to theatre in Nova Scotia. Her name has become synonymous with Park, and she helped myriad playwrights develop hundreds of plays during her tenure. She mentored numerous people, playwrights, dramaturges, interns, administrators, and the fruits of her mentorship spread across the country from Vancouver to Stratford to St. John's. Jenny gave me some administrative advice when I took the helm of Ship's Company and was writing my first operating grants. She had lots to say, as you can imagine, about the futility of grant writing when there is no more money to be had. Write what you have to and be done. There's no more damn money anyway. She told me that in the aftermath of White Juan, she had crawled out the window of her house in Guysborough, drove on shitty roads to the post office because she needed to get the goddamn thing out of her house because she would just keep taking at it and it would never be over. I always hear her voice in my head in those moments of tinkering a grant and think, just be done with it. Get the goddamn thing out of the house. Jenny was a fierce advocate for the writers she championed. With her brilliant mind, her no bullshit ability to cut to the chase, and her razor-sharp wit, she inspired and sometimes terrified a whole generation of Atlantic Canadian writers. Her mark is on so many plays and premieres across this region, and many playwrights have told me since her passing that they are a playwright because of Jenny, because of her support, her skill, and her belief in them. As part of Park's 30th anniversary celebrations, the Park Board decided to honor Jenny's tremendous contribution to the organization. In the midst of these discussions, Catherine Banks called me and said, whoa, we need to reconsider our plan. In an email, Jenny had said to her, and I quote, by the way, if someone suggests naming that library the Jenny Munday Memorial Library after I kick the bucket, I swear to God I will come back and haunt them and perhaps burn the place down. Well, there was a move afoot to name the library after her as part of the 30th anniversary, which promptly got deep-sixed. She was proud of the vision for the library, though, and in finding a home for it and the colony at Mount A, as well as the addition of a Craig intern to the organization, and particularly in the creation of the kitchen table readings to Park services. The kitchen table reading is a program, which I think Catherine and I were saying we're going to call that Jenny's Table from now on. Jenny's Table is a program that puts the playwright in charge of the process, when and how they want to hear their words aloud for the first time. Jenny was fierce about this in all things, that Park was a playwriting organization that centered the playwrights and their needs, and centered them she did. Jenny was an unrelenting advocate for Atlantic Canadian playwrights. So to that end, Park has decided that the best way to honor Jenny is not by naming the library after her, but to honor her incredible work, both as a playwright herself and as a champion of playwrights. Park is creating the Jenny Munday Atlantic Play Award, which will regularly honor the work of a playwright from Atlantic Canada. Through this award, Jenny's name will remain synonymous with Park, and through this legacy, she will continue to inspire, support, and promote Atlantic Canadian playwrights for years to come. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. And I really hope you like that idea. Please don't set us on fire.
That's fantastic. Thank you all so very, very much for coming. We ran over a bit. We were going to try and be more consolidated in our work today, but you know, it got away with us. Memories do. But we couldn't go without thanking, especially all the people at Neptune who've cooperated and helped us so much, especially Garrett, Justin, and Banner up in the booth today. Put all the technical stuff together for us. Front of house people, bar people. And I just want to acknowledge another of Jenny's very dear friends who's in the audience, Maureen White, who has been a longtime friend of Jenny's and was a huge support to Jenny during her last illness. And then Maureen and I had a lot of fun cleaning out Jenny's house. But Jenny puts people together, and in a way, Maureen and I have developed a fabulous friendship now as a result of getting down and packing every day. So thanks, Maureen, very, very much.
And just wanted to acknowledge the beautiful slideshow by Karen Chung and the music composed by Sandy Moore. A lot of work went into that. Thank you so much. And as Linda mentioned earlier, we have tables of Jenny mementos. And so to end off today, we'd like you to come up and look through, and if something touches your heart and you'd like to take it home with you as a memory and memento, you're welcome to do that. And then that ends it. We're not able to congregate in the lobby due to COVID restrictions, so we say thank you for coming. Thank you for watching on the live stream, and I hope it gave you some time to just let it sink in. Thank you, everybody.
And we may adjourn across the street to a number of the watering holes, so look for us there. Thank you all very, very much.